Hi again, Mav here, and in this video I'll tell you why I think Clip Studio Paint is a great software. So basically I'm going to just let you know why I decided to use Clip Studio Paint for this class and kind of whether it's actually that important that you use it or not. So in case you don't know, Clip Studio Paint is a drawing software that's equipped with an array of tools, not only for digital drawing, but also for animation and comic making. And comic making is sort of what drew me into it to begin with, because I saw that it had specific tools for creating panels or speech bubbles, etc. And I was curious about it, so I gave it a go. And before I did go through a few different programs like Photoshop, Paint Tool Sai, Autodesk Sketchbook, and a bunch of others. But none of them really surprised me as much as Clip Studio Paint did, and in a very positive way. So in this course, what the main things that I'll use Clip Studio Paint for that I think other softwares might lack in are its support for 3D assets, characters, backgrounds, etc. Its asset store, Clip Studio has a big base of users uploading brushes, materials, 3D objects, literally anything you can think of, you can probably find it in the asset store. It also has a lot of a really good brush support. I think Clip Studio Paint's brush engine is one of the best I've tried. It's got a lot of brushes, a lot of rulers. Again, the paneling and speech bubble tools are very useful as well. And it's a very robust software, and you can tell that the developers really put a lot of effort into keeping it updated and all that. So this is why I recommend it a lot, and this is why I chose it. I chose to emphasize it so much for this class. If you're interested in speed and comfort and working on something that'll take you a lot of time like a webcomic, then it's definitely worth looking into Clip Studio Paint. The Pro version is fine. I've never tried the X version. I don't know. I think the X version has a better file system, but I've never felt like I needed it. The Pro version is perfectly fine. It makes my work a lot faster in terms of shortcuts, automatic actions, and all the stuff that I'll be talking about in chapter 1. And it makes my work a lot more comfortable as well. I use Clip Studio Paint I use the desktop version. There's a version for the iPad, but it has a monthly subscription fee, so I wouldn't recommend it as much. So the iPad version is basically the same interface as the desktop version, and it has file support between iPad and computer, but it's not meant for a touch screen. It's not really that easy to use on an iPad. If you don't have Clip Studio Paint, it's perfectly fine. What I'll be using it for the most, apart from in chapter 1, the most specific things that I'll be using it for are the 3D models. But if you're using something else and you have access to an external poser tool or 3D tool or something like Blender, or even if you don't have access to it and you think you're fine without that part of the process, then I do still think that you can take something from this course. So it's not that important. I do suggest that you give it a go if you're working on a computer and not an iPad. Maybe download a trial version and have a go at it, or download it just for this course and see how you feel about it. Clip Studio Paint isn't that expensive compared to other software like Photoshop. So yeah, that's just a side note that I wanted to give before entering the class. You don't have to use Clip Studio Paint. There's a lot of takeaways from the other chapters, and even from the first chapter, if you want to see how can I map this tool to my tool on my drawing software. So I do think you can still gain something from it. And I'll be doing my best to sort of suggest alternatives whenever I can that aren't so tied to Clip Studio Paint. So yeah, that's the side note. I hope you enjoyed the classes. I hope you enjoyed the course, and I'll see you in chapter 1.